Today, we dive into the journey of your favorite Chicago Fire character. From heroic rescues to emotional breakdowns, this one's for the true fans. Rome Flynn, who portrayed Derek Gibson in NBC's Chicago Fire, recently spoke with CBR about playing a real-life gangster. Flynn plays Frank Lucas in Season 4 of Godfather of Harlem. Speaking with CBR's Brittany Frederick, Flynn acknowledged how different playing Frank Lucas is compared to his Chicago Fire character. Very different approaches, both equally challenging in their own way, he said of the shift from being a hero to an antagonist. But this is a lot different. Procedural is a lot more technical, a lot more by the book. For this show, it's about the details, but a lot of it's unpredictable, and it's written in that way too. So very different forms. While playing Frank Lucas is challenging, Flynn also shared how much he learned from his time on Chicago Fire. "I found a heavy level of appreciation for our essential workers," he revealed. "They're heroes of our communities, and so to be able to play a firefighter and go through the process of learning what those things are that they did, and also being put in those situations, I just have a newfound respect and appreciation for them." Forrest Whitaker stars as Bumpy Johnson, a Harlem mob boss and the titular Godfather of Harlem. The rivalry between Bumpy and Frank is one of the driving forces of the show's new season, and Flynn had nothing but positive things to say about his co-star. "Obviously, Forrest Whitaker is just one of the best in the business," he said, adding that the show's writers gave him the tools and a deep well of knowledge that helped him nail his character. Godfather of Harlem Season 4 premiered on April 13 on MGM+. The new season marks Flynn's arrival as Frank Lucas, the Harlem drug lord who operated during the late 1960s and early 1970s. In 1976, Lucas was convicted of drug trafficking and given a 70-year prison sentence, but was later placed in the Witness Protection Program after becoming an informant. Flynn reflects on Godfather of Harlem's civil rights story. While Godfather of Harlem is, at its core, a crime drama series, it also navigates sensitive topics like civil rights and racial equality. For Flynn, this was an important aspect that he hopes modern audiences pay attention to when watching the show. Right now on TV, there's no other show where you can watch and sort of unknowingly be educated on a certain period of time, he said. A lot of historical things happened that shaped America during the civil rights era, like the Black Panthers being introduced to the show, he continued. So telling that story and making sure people are aware of certain accounts during this time period is a huge responsibility, but they do an amazing job. Since leaving Chicago Fire, Rome Flynn has taken on one of his most challenging roles yet, Frank Lucas, the infamous Harlem drug lord and Godfather of Harlem. The shift from playing a heroic firefighter to a ruthless criminal has been a dramatic pivot, but Flynn has embraced the opportunity to explore a darker, more morally ambiguous character. In a recent interview, Flynn expanded on the differences between his two roles. Derek Gibson was about service, about putting others first, he said, referencing his Chicago Fire character. Frank Lucas is the opposite. He's about power, survival, and control. Playing a character like Frank forces you to reckon with motivations that aren't always heroic, but are undeniably human. The challenge of playing Frank Lucas. Portraying a real-life figure like Frank Lucas comes with its own set of pressures. Lucas was a notorious figure in Harlem's criminal underworld, known for his ruthlessness and business acumen. Flynn admitted that stepping into those shoes required extensive research. "I watched documentaries, read books, and even spoke to people who lived through that era," Flynn shared. Frank wasn't just a villain. He was a product of his environment. Harlem in the 60s and 70s was a battleground, not just between gangsters, but between systemic oppression and the fight for civil rights. Understanding that context was crucial. One of the most compelling dynamics in Godfather of Harlem is the rivalry between Frank Lucas and Forrest Whitaker's character, Bumpy Johnson. Flynn spoke about the intensity of working alongside an Oscar-winning actor like Whitaker. "Forrest doesn't just act, he inhabits Bumpy," Flynn said. Every scene with him is a masterclass. There's a weight to his presence that elevates everyone around him. Our characters are at war, but off-screen, it's all respect and collaboration. From procedural drama to crime epic, Flynn also reflected on the tonal differences between Chicago Fire, a fast-paced procedural, and Godfather of Harlem, a sprawling crime saga. With Chicago Fire, the structure is tight. There's an emergency, a resolution, and character moments in between.